Otsukimi here. This is the Knowhere market update for Wednesday. I hope you're having a good week. A few different things, just a quick introduction, 1 minute, 2 minutes, and then go into some preliminaries. First of all, the theme for this is not going to be a normal theme. I'm just going to talk about my scripts today as I'm charting. So, very organic way to look at the scripts and the charts together. Something that you want to see. We've had a big green day, and I do want to say, however, I do want to kind of plug just a little bit and say I've been talking about this rally all freaking year. Okay, I've been talking about this rally especially for the past 2 months, and I've been saying it, and there's a lot of evidence that allowed me to say that. I wasn't just talking out of my rear end. The rally has happened. So you're welcome. Maybe I don't know. I don't want to go that route. I'm not trying to go the prideful route. But what I am trying to say is the opportunities were there in front of us. If you the there is a seems to be a correlation between the people that have followed me in Discord and the people that have seemed to gain more profits. So, and if you have gained a lot of profits recently, that's good. Pat yourself on the back, whatever you need to do. But the fight's not over yet for this. Things are looking pretty good. I'll get into that in a second. But by and large, for this video, we're going to do more of an organic approach, just pure charts with my scripts. And one of those is because I'm in the preliminary aspect of this video, which is going to be about 30 seconds from now. I'm going to tell you about my scripts, tell you why I'm putting them on the screen, and yeah, we'll just get started with that. All right, as far as preliminaries, just one really, and that's my Apex script, my Aroon Pro scripts, I should say. And that's the category of them. I've got 5 scripts total. And what is going on is I actually have a bot service that charges a monthly fee for this. Some people wanted a lifetime option to add that to their trading view, and I'm going to go ahead and go through with that. And so that's going to be a one-time payment for basically you get that lifetime option, right? So you pay that, you get it, and then you also get the trading view script on that. You don't get the bots themselves, so it's one or the other, right? And so the idea is you get the scripts, you can add them, you can do your own thing because the bots themselves, they will incorporate these scripts, but I won't get every asset, right? There's a limit to the number of assets I can do unless I upgrade it, significantly. And this is something I'm just starting to do. But some of you guys want to do it on your own, and that's completely fine. So with that being said, I'm doing a back test series. For each script, I'm doing about 5 videos. So I'm doing a lot. Okay, and the first video was an hour long. So you could expect somewhere between 4 to 5 hours probably for each script, and there's 5 scripts total. So I'm looking at doing 100 hours of backtest video, and I want you to keep in mind these are live videos. Okay, these are slightly edited. The only editing I did was to remove some sensitive information. I accidentally clicked off my screen and something came up. But other than that, it's 99% unedited. It's completely live. I mute my mic to eat or drink while I'm doing this. So that's why it's also an hour long because sometimes I'm not talking, but it is live. I take random dates. So I use the Monte Carlo method, which is taking random dates at random times, and I randomize everything in front of you. And so I'm fully recording that. I am expecting to do anywhere between 80 to 100 hours for all of my back testing for all of my scripts. Okay. And yes, I am charging more than the average person for these scripts. In fact, I'm probably charging over twice what normal people would be charging. And there's a reason for that. It's because they're efficient, okay? And also because I'm doing these live back tests for you and to show you that these are legitimate scripts. Okay? So I want you to keep in mind. And I say that because I don't want people to be shocked by the price point. It's probably not as high as some people think, but it's also not going to be low either. And I say that because, chances if you have at least one Bitcoin, it's going to be not expensive for you. Okay, so I want to make that clear. If you own more than one Bitcoin or two or more Bitcoin, it's gonna be affordable for you. Okay, if you don't have that much, it's gonna look expensive for you. But also, I would challenge you to look to analyze your own perspective and to say if you only have $10,000, let's say, why are you trying to buy scripts of this size? And so, yes, you think you need the scripts to help you, which may or may not be true. I can't jump into that financial advice sector, obviously. But the thing is, you need to build capital regardless. So um, it is designed for people with a little more higher price point. And that, and also if you can't afford that, that's okay. I'm not here to try to sell you on this necessarily. I was I was asked to offer these and I considered it and I went ahead and accepted that offer. If you think that that's too high or you want a different option, there are other options like the Aroon bots, for example. So the Aroon bots are going to be basically the same scripts, but they're only going to cover about 15 assets. And I haven't quite put the price point on the monthly subscription, but it's going to be somewhere between 25 to 50 bucks. And so that is going to be much more affordable for everyone. And again, if you think that's too expensive, like I'm telling, if you think $20 to $50 is too expensive for a month, you probably shouldn't be trading. I'll just tell you that right now. And I mean no offense by that. I really don't. But there is something that you need to scale your concept of that, right? So when I first started trading like 7 years ago, almost 8 years ago, I only had 50 bucks to my name. I was poor. Okay, I worked it out um in a I had a lot of luck on my side. God was with me on my side because I had the $50. It ended up going to 400. Actually, it went up to $1,100. I rode Litecoin all the way up to the top, and I bought $50 of Litecoin, and it ended up being, I think I bought like four Litecoin with that. It ended up being over $1,000. So it worked out, right? And there's a few things I'm missing in there, but you get the idea. So I started small. I started with high time frame spot. I added money. I worked a normal job, adding money to my portfolio. And I'm telling you, that's if you have no capital, you're probably best. Again, I'm trying to tread carefully, but in most cases, going to as much as you hate me saying this, your best option is to get a regular job or get a higher paying job or somewhere to hustle to make more money and add that to your capital. That's in my experience that has been way better than trying to high leverage trade something to make money. Okay, because you're working against your own clock, okay? You're trying to high leverage trade 100, $500, $1,000, right? Like low capital. In my opinion, anything under Bitcoin is low anyway. I mean, if you're trading very seriously, you should have at least one Bitcoin minimum. And that's I'm sorry if that offends you. I'm not trying to offend anybody by that, but I think your first goal would be to try to accumulate enough money to get one Bitcoin first, and then trade with that. Okay, or even from a different perspective, and I've had people block me for what I'm about to say next, and this is even a little harsher, is that you should not trade at all unless you have 2 years saved up of your salary. And full time crypto. I'm talking about full time crypto. If you have another job, that's completely different. Okay. If you want to go full time crypto, you should have at least 2 years worth of living salary for you and the family that you support if you have them. Okay. So if you need $40,000 a year to live, um, I mean, because having a salary of 150 grand, let's say, is way different than what you need to survive. Two different salary points. I don't want to get into this, it's not really the point of the video. But what I am saying is you need to calculate these um, correctly, right? So anyway, that being said, I don't really need to I don't think I really feel like I need to explain myself either. At the end of the day, I'll charge what I want to charge. I don't mean that in the wrong way, but yeah, so that's just how it is. So I'll explain that throughout the video because it's going to be more of a script themed video, and we'll go over that. If you like the back test, I got much more to go. I probably got 15 to 20 more, 15 to 19 more left. So it's going to be a pretty extensive thing. Okay, there's not going to be room for people to bellyache about what I'm offering. So anyway, if you haven't seen the first backtest, go ahead and look at that because I backtested at random and it got 49R, almost 50R out of 40 trades. So it averaged about 1.2R per trade, which is pretty decent, honestly, for the first go around especially. And most of that was just one section of the test. And so keep that in mind as well because if you if you get a hold of my script and you make almost 50R in 40 trades, you will be making your money back if you already own one Bitcoin or more. So just keep that in mind. So that's the thing. For somebody that has already one Bitcoin that plans to use this in a meaningful way, chances are this is going to be a deal for you. Okay, just saying. So anyway, that being said, that's the preliminary. Let's get started. All right, so first things first, I'm going to quickly go over 3 of the 5 indicators that I have available. All 5 of them are going to be available for one-time purchase. But I only have 3 of them ready to present. The other ones are technically available, but I got to change the format. It's more developer focused, right? Chicken scratch kind of presentation. So these are more visually appealing and able to explain. So this one with the buys and sells, this is the one that I did the back test on yesterday. This is the Apex Classic indicator. Okay, so I have an Apex Classic. It's designed to give you buys and sells overall. And with that being said, you also have 2 lines here. This is your entry line. This is your stop loss. So if you want to do something like so, you get the buy signal. You always buy, the script will give you the optimal place based off its criteria where to add your entry. And so that would be your entry. This would be your stop loss right here, and then you get to pick where you want to take profits. And the reason I did that is because not all take profits are created equal. Some people want to take profits early, some people want to take late, some people want to ladder out. And so I give room for that option. Okay. And another thing is to, like, I have my own criteria of when to take profits. And so I will add that in the documentation if you want to take it. That's how I use the Apex indicator directly. And so that's just how it works. And you can decide what to do. For me, it's at a divergence. So I would have sold somewhere in between here. I may even have sold down here as much as down here. So let's just go ahead and assume somewhere between 2 to 2.8. And so that's roughly where I would have sold for this particular asset, right? And then you can create your own risk for the daily time frame, things like that. And so that's the first one. Like I said, I won't spend too much time on this one because the whole back test video, which is an hour long, I did just on this script. I went through the daily and the 12-hour time frames. I picked 40 trades at random and got to that 50-hour conclusion. So that's the first script, and we'll go on to the next one. All right, so the next one, I call it the Aroon trend indicator. It has a longer name. I think Aroon trend mean reversion. And so this one is a little bit different in this regard. So this is actually a trend-based indicator, and right now these crosses, I can get rid of these if they are too unappealing. And if you have a comment, just let me know overall. But I'm gonna keep an eye on the market since they look pretty good. So with this being said, you have red and green, or red and gray, I'm sorry, which shows you the Aroon based trend overall for the markets. Now, the thinness and the thickness of the band helps you determine the strength of the trend. So the thinner it is, the higher the trend is going to be. The thicker it is, the more contention or the more consolidation is going to occur roughly. And so there are some small um, definitions to get into, but I won't get into this in this video. I'll have a dedicated video for these scripts also, by the way. So the general idea here is that once this gets below a certain price point across the mean reversion line, it should accelerate to the downside or accelerate to the upside. Okay, so you're going to have some smaller ones, but the general idea is to catch the trend before it happens, right? And so that's kind of what goes on with this one. So this one is a little more. So if you want more flexibility, the Apex indicator is going to be better for you. If you want the Aroon trend is going to be more for people that just like percentages, right? And that just plan on buying. They don't necessarily calculate their R values, right? And so if you're into that, Aroon trend will probably be better for you. Apex is going to be more that's designed for, I don't want to say serious traders, but traders that are more have a strong method to their approach, right? And so just keeping that in mind. So that's the Aroon trend. I got one more. Share it quickly. We'll get on the charts. And so last but not least is the liquidity indicator. I think I rebranded it to the SLIC indicator, which is the supply liquidity indicator. And what this does is gives you buys and sells. Now, Um, the buys and sells themselves are not actually like true buys and sells. It's areas where the market is a little more illiquid than normal. And what that creates is some more volatility, some more actionable ideas that you can do. And so generally that results in reversals, which is where the buys and sells come from. And so I can modify this to where it doesn't say buy and sell, it just says, a illiquid event or something like that. And so the idea is that this area, it's designed to reverse as soon as you get that. In addition to that, it also does well with divergences. So when you get the buy and sell signals along with a divergence of its side, like something like so, you get the sell, you get the divergence. Typically, that's a very strong signal and it's very optimal. Okay, so this is the one that I did on the 3 week chart. No, it's the 2 week. I'm sorry. 2 week chart. There you go. Where I got the sell signal up here. I don't think I sold it there though. I think I sold it when we got back up to here. But I did sell really high. This is also why I got this. If you're wondering why I ever got in at 16,000, this is why. Because the top of this, if you want to look, is at 17,075. And I got in at 1608. And I think because just before the candle closed, I think I got in low, just slightly lower. So I took the chance, paid off. We also got the sell signal right here. These three signals alone are probably going to be worth it as well. This is going to be a lower price point than the Apex. The Apex one is going to be the most expensive. And so I actually covered them in the most expensive to least. Apex is going to be the most expensive. It comes with the Classic and the Pro. The Trend is the next one, and the Liquidity is the one after that. And then I got two more other ones that are not ready, and mainly because they're more so tools. They're not actually like buy and sell per se. It's more tools to aid you, and those are actually cheaper than this one. So I got different scripts, different price points, different concepts, and I got pretty much everything I can cover for anybody. So anyway, that covers the script portion. Let's get into the charts. All right, so first things first, we're going to talk about Bitcoin. I went ahead and put Apex on here. I think I'll just kind of keep it on here. This is the Apex Classic. You can see I had the three buy signals, and this is very exceptional because I had three opportunities to buy, and that's one reason why I layered my buys. I'm telling you guys, I use this script every day, and so I'm not BSing you when I say, "Oh, I'm just making a script for money." It's nothing like that, okay? It's about you guys wanting a need, and I'm sharing you what I use. So anyway, that's what the 2 week looks like. With that, we had the recovery on the 50. Not much else going on. We went ahead and broke above this. I think. Can I just get rid of this? My signals have been very stubborn lately. Talking about you, Trading View. You guys need to improve yourselves. So anyway, we got the expansion here. I think. Does that go away? Why is it? I was able to get them to go away by double tapping. So anyway, got this going on the weekly here. You got your signal here. You got your buy here for as far as that goes. But we looked into this the other day because this is our next zone that we're working with. We had this reaccumulation that shows better on the daily and the 3 day. Now we're kind of getting into this zone. If we can get into that, now our next range is going to be 48,000 to 34,000. And I've mentioned in a past couple movies, past couple videos, that 47,000 will be a target that I'm looking for, and now we're starting to approach that. And as we get closer to 35,000, that's looking more realistic. 3 weeks ago, nobody even seriously considered 30,000. Okay, and you guys were looking at 20,000, 15,000, which was weird. I've told a lot of people I don't think we'll go back to 20,000 ever again. A lot of people are looking for a big sell off. I don't think we'll get it. I think we will get a sell off. I just don't think that we'll get a big one. And a lot of people, and the problem too is a lot of people, and I see really good traders saying this, which is really weird and really deceptive because a lot of you guys probably are not these people, right? You guys are probably not big follower accounts. And again, I'm not saying anything wrong, but you're following me for insights, and a lot of these guys I used to follow for insights, and they have good insights, they have good portfolios, but they just come up with some weird ideas, and it's like they think, well, dream scenario, we get a dip, we do this, we do that, and then we can finally do this. Well, you're also asking for the market to do four things specifically for you, and chances are that's not going to happen. So with that being said, with the way I see it is you just play how the markets look. We had a consolidation, we had expansion. Very, very easy, right? We had the flip of the RSI, and look, it rested right on the 50. Boom, it's good to go. Aroon trend, it crossed bullish. It's staying trendy on the bullish. Everything looks healthy here. Okay, I'm not going to short. This is not a time to short. I've been really saying that for the past 2 to 3 months. I'm saying that especially now, the more the cycle changes, the more silly it's going to be to short. Okay, you don't want to short right now. And so, one reason I sold in the high 50,000s and low 60s is because we had a high time frame divergence, a 2 to 3 week. We had a 2 week divergence and we had a 3 week divergence. We had double, and when you get double like that, that's a big sign that things are going to go down. And so you can also kind of gauge the market in that way too, sentiment, all that. So right now, the sentiment is just fine. A lot of people are confused. A lot of people think we're going to go down, and that's more reason why it may not go down. I don't know. I'm not an expert on predicting. I'm just showing you what I see, right? And so let's go ahead and go on to the 3 day. And so this is what we got here as well. On the apex, we had a signal that went up. And so going by this measure, we looked right here and currently at about 4.5. So that's pretty good. Run up about 22% overall. So that's pretty good. A lot of you guys want the percentages. I never really cover the percentages, but I can. I can start doing that more. Got a 22% run right now based off of my apex signal. So overall this is still looking good. Starting to get into that territory. I want to cover the daily, however, because this is more important to me. And so as you can see, the signal pretty much gives you the same run up like so. Was it? Yeah, about the same, 21%, just one less. But we are getting into this resistance territory, and this looks pretty good. I can tell you right now, this looks really good. In fact, I kind of signaled this on the 4 hour, which what I was looking for last night in the mini market updates is that if we get a push, that's why I had the alert, because I wanted to push up to the upside. If we get that and we hold that, then that's going to look pretty good. I got to put that back now. So let's go ahead and put that back on the top there. And so it should show up. TradingView is just so weird sometimes. So anyway, here's another apex, and this is one thing here that a lot of people, if you're into the R values, is like amazing, right? And so super super low, like half of 1%. If you want to do like 1%, I'm okay with that. And then you go up to current price action, you got 26 R value with a 27% profit rate. Okay, that this trade alone is better than your favorite influencer right now. Okay, so that's why I say what I say. Okay, I say things that matter. I say things that have weight to them, and that's what's going on. We got a lot of things springing up. We'll cover some of these. So anyway, that's the 4 hour for Bitcoin. Looks good. I'm looking for a continuation of this. If it does not, I think your next option would be 33,600, and we look for a reaccumulation. If we don't get 30, if we don't hold that range, then we're going to 31,000. So all those are on the table. Obviously, I like the bullish one the best. So that's basically Bitcoin. I'm going to cover Ethereum, and I'm going to try to cover these a little bit faster because I want to cover more alts. I don't cover a lot of alts. So we'll go to Ethereum first. Solana, I'll skip all the dominant stuff and just keep going down the line. All right, going on to Ethereum. I cover the weekly in observations, so I think I'll only cover the weekly for Bitcoin. But right here, we have this consolidation move again. All these scripts. I probably won't talk about all the scripts on all the places, so you can view them. You can pause and kind of look for yourself. And if you're not convinced, I got the back test. So probably 4 hours of backtesting just for this script alone. So, and this is the most prominent one. So we have the consolidation up. We do have a divergence in play. So everything is looking pretty strong. The Aroon bearish wedge is also pretty wide. And so this is a concern. I was thinking that this would go down, but it's, these wicks are pretty significant. And so we might get a rally to the upside. And so the way that I kind of circumvent all that is to look at this as a range. And I'm playing the break of the range. And I kind of mentioned this yesterday in Knowhere, is that if you wanted to long this, this would be the way that you want to go. You could target somewhere in the mid. Your mid is going to be, if you take a fib block, go like so. Target right underneath it, kind of similar to what I have now. And then my target would probably be up at the top, something like so. And you got about 2.9 R to work with. Other than that, I think your next bet, I don't know if I would short. I'm not a big shorting person in this market, but I would consider buying here at about 1738. I think that's the best option. We just got a bearish cross, or a bullish cross, I should say. And they also bounced upon the 50. So I think there's a good chance that we will get this rally up to the 2000 range. So just keep that in mind overall. But that's pretty much Ethereum in a nutshell. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. We're kind of in this big wedge right here, and we need to really jump above that. So if we get this long and then we break above that, then we should honestly hold higher. I think there's a great chance that we will probably go somewhere in this range, um, going from here about 23, but basically 3,000. I think we can climb to 3,000 relatively quickly. So that's just something to keep in mind with that. So that's Ethereum. On to Solana. All right, Solana is next, and here's your indicators here on the daily. So one thing I was looking at from Knowhere is mainly we had this trend line. This is the key that I looked at. So if you guys know, I bought in at $19, but I also made a case for buying at 20 regardless. It's kind of like a Darvis play that I tend to use. But if you didn't do that, there was this trend line here, and the expansion of this would cause another significant rally. And so when you get a trend line of this caliber and you don't get a rejection, that is a sign that this is going to take off. And so I mentioned last night, if you're not in my Discord channel, you should be, because I mentioned last night before we got to 40 that we would get to 40, and we did. And so overall, now you have this price point to work with. And so I'm going to take this liquidity tap right here, and that's basically where we stopped at. And so here's some of your other signals if you're interested in those. So like I said, pretty clean. Just, except for maybe this, but with these alone on the daily, if, like I said, if you have more than one Bitcoin, you're going to make your money back with just Solana on just these signals that you see right here. So just keeping that in mind. So here's your resistance. We're also at about 85 RSI. So we could be topping out here. The problem is I don't consider blow off tops on my analysis, and I'm a little bit weird. What else is new, right? I'm a weird guy, but what I'd look for divergences instead, or I look for blow off tops in the sense of being deviations instead. Okay, so I don't like the idea of blow off tops. Yes, they tend to happen, right? So like here's a blow off top that makes good sense, but there's other criteria at play. The thing with blow off tops is you don't know that they are blow off tops when they occur. Sorry, something in my mouth. So what you want to do instead is you probably with this particular section right here, this would be your previous structure. And yes, this kind of blew off, but it actually put in another higher candle, honestly. And so that's where I would have closed at this deviation, and honestly, I would have closed at a similar spot anyway. So that's kind of what I'm saying. Blow off tops are understandable. The thing with blow off tops is they're good in theory, but they're not necessarily good in execution. Okay, it leaves too much speculative options available on the table. So here we've had a pretty significant drop from 20%, but everything else looks pretty good. GRT looks good, which we'll get to in a second. But overall, that's the play for the daily. Going on to the 4 hour, you can see I had a triple buy going into this. And so that's some of your assets right there looking pretty good. I had a false signal there, but you get stopped out. So that's the thing. You get stopped out. This is not designed to continue on your, this is not designed to buy and then hold all the way down. That's not how this goes. That's why you have stop losses in play. And if you're not familiar with stop losses, you're not familiar with R values, this is not the script for you. So anyway, you got that going on pretty good. And these scripts alone would also pay for it. So this would be just fine. So anyway, here's what you got. Here's your quote unquote blow off top. I don't know if that is genuine or not. I'm wanting a follow through first. But we are at the 90. No divergence, no nothing else. Good solid Aroon trend. This is looking pretty good to me still. We could rally higher, but we might also top out for the weekend. And that's the thing. This might actually be a blow off top, but it might only top for the rest of the weekend, and then we might continue on next week. And so that's the thing. Where do you draw the line? Okay, it's always good to take profits. So if you need to, now's the perfect time, right? My particular Solana that I have, I'm ride. It's ride or die for me. Okay, I plan to hold that until it gets to like 500 or $5. Okay, and some people had a chance to buy it at $8 or even at $10, right? And so if those of you that bought at 10, now you're at a 4x. So just keep that in mind overall. But with that being said, it is time to be cautious, especially if you need to take profits. If you need to take profits, the best time to do so. And so you do have your kind of blow off section here. One way I can navigate this is if this breaks here, this is almost kind of like a C fork. I'm starting to use C forks a little more. But if it breaks from here, it's probably going to go to this one. So just keep that in mind. That could be a way to take profits. I'm going to do a separate video, by the way, on how to trade in a hyper bullish market, taking profits, things like that. So look forward to that. I might have to wait till next week. But with that being said, this still looks pretty good overall. I mean, I got to dive to the 15-minute chart just to get anything for the sell side, right? And so this looks like it might come down back to this breaker here at $42 and even down to 30, 39. I think I said 37 would be a possible position. So I just keep that in mind. So overall, Solana looking pretty good. It might cool off here for the next few days. I would not interpret that as a top signal, however. And so overall, with that, I would like to see once you kind of reclaim the 50 marker. I think that's pretty good. We have a lot of space in here, by the way. So don't. We had no space right here, right, and then we just kind of went all the way up here, and so we could spend some time within the $37 to $47 range. Just keep that in mind as well. So that's Solana. Let's do some alts. Let's do maybe about two or three at a time, and we'll just keep going. All right, first things first is XRP. I don't want to cover this too much, but we also have the same. I want to cover the 4 hour. So on the daily, we had the range break that I was looking for, consolidation, range break again. So everything was looking pretty good with that one. For this 4 hour scenario, we have this trend line going on right now. This is a marker that I looked at yesterday in Discord. If we get this trend line break, which I'm probably going to mark right up here, it's going to do a Solana. Okay, so look out for XRP. XRP does tend to do more Dogecoin type rallies. So just keep that in mind. I think that's pretty much all I'll cover for XRP, but it looks pretty solid. The divergence is here, but it could just keep the divergence in mind, but also keep the trend line in mind. I would not long this if you have not longed this already until the trend line gets broken. So that's just a general rule that I have. Um, I mean, I want to cover Bitcoin and Dogecoin, but Bitcoin's they're both doing like these retests, which is just unfortunate. I think there's better coins out there. And so, with that being said, I'm going to move forward to FTM. So again, here's your apex signals looking pretty solid. So here's another one. This is one that we talked about in my Knowhere channel. Um, right now, it's doing pretty good. Not as good as other coins, but it's more of a slow burn, right? And so it's working out pretty good. This is starting to do a very wide bearish consolidation, so we might see a little bit more of a chop, possibly even distribution, until we figure that out. We do have a hidden bull div, so that makes me think the chop is going to be more likely, and so we will work with that. And so another thing here is you also got a mid level. So what we could do is we could almost take a detour up to 28 cents and then come back down. That's completely possible. But overall, that looks pretty solid on the 4 hour. This looks very distributive, but we are putting another high, but that's also a bullish engulfing or a bullish breaker, I should say. So that just depends. So still looking bullish, but I would be cautious. The thing is, too, I don't know who I'm talking to per se. So if you are in these positions, I think it's okay to stay in these positions. If you are not in these positions, I am more apt to tell you to wait until you get a better opportunity. Maybe the divergence gets invalidated, or maybe there's a new high. And so like a new high of this would be up here, not close. When I say new high, I mean wicks. I don't mean candles. And so keep that in mind. We also had an apex signal here, which was pretty solid, and going up to almost 10R, pretty good. So yeah, looking pretty solid with that one. So that would, if you risk one Bitcoin with that, you would have made $3,000 just this trade alone. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, going on to GRT. This is the one that I'm interested in a long position as well. Have the divergence, still going strong. However, and it's one of these things. It's kind of complicated because it actually retested this channel. It actually jumped, it wicked below, reclaimed, and then it bounced high again. So that's pretty impressive, honestly. That's one thing. I actually closed my position and then I re-entered in my position. And I lost a few percentages with that. I don't normally do that, and that's why I shouldn't do that. That's why you should wait for this to fail. It did not fail, but it was getting close. Full trend on this, no consolidation. We do have no divergence on the 1 day, but we all and I'd probably say no hidden bull div either. So it's looking pretty solid. So the div is on the 4 hour, and so that could give us some more chop, but overall, I think it's still likely to go up maybe to 13.5 cents. And so with that, that could be another 21% from here. So anyway, that's GRT. Let's do a few more. Let's do like maybe 3 to 5 more, and then we'll end the video. All right, so honestly, there's a lot of good alts out there, and I was kind of searching through them off the scenes. I think it took me even like 5 minutes to kind of search through. And some of them are just really, really good. And some notable ones was Uniswap. It's one that I wanted to get in, but I just was not able to do. It's looking pretty good, honestly. I'll cover some of these here, and I guess I'll just cover them right now. This one looks pretty good, but we also have a bullish breaker, so just keep mindful of that one. But overall, it could rally up more. And again, you see all my signals and how they look. Speaking of looks, here's looks as well. This was one that we had a little bit of a dip, and now it's starting to rally again. I'm not really into this one overall though, but it doesn't look too bad honestly. And so those are some of them. Demetra was another one that I like. I've always liked Demetra. That one's on a rally so far as well. GMX also looks pretty good. But some of the ones I want to mention, so Atom is going to be the first one. Aave looks pretty good too, actually. And I think I mentioned that in my Discord channel. It's been some time, but like this looks pretty solid right here. I think this will probably continue to rally, and so you might get a drop like right here. So if you do, I think that's worth a big long. So I'll go ahead and throw Aave in this as well. That looks pretty solid, honestly. And then if you go, let's say like 3 day, um, you're probably gonna go into this midsection here at 180. So I think that's a pretty significant rally, I'd say. Things are looking pretty good. I think that's almost a 2x probably from here. So overall, looks pretty solid. There's a lot of coins that look great. So don't be too shy about this being a quote unquote blow off top because I'm not convinced that it is. So, all right, going on to Atom. Atom is one. We had the buy signal coming up. We had the trend line break. If you did that, which is something that I covered, conservative would get you about 18%. But I cover this because it has a daily signal, and so and it also has continued to go down, so you have some cushion on this to work with. And so if you do something like so, if you match up to the previous sell signal, you got a 46% price mark up, and it's an R value about 3.8. So looking pretty good. I like this a lot. It just reclaimed this area here. In fact, that wick kind of goes into that, kind of does the retest alongside this. So this is very solid. I like Atom a lot, very much so. I'm going to give myself a reminder, in fact. All right, so the next one is going to be OP. And this one, I picked this one because it hasn't pumped yet. A lot of ones, that doesn't make sense. A lot of coins have pumped. Um, OP is one that hasn't, but still looks pretty good. We also got the buy signal on that as well. We do have a consolidation. You could probably, or a trend line, I should say. That probably looks good. That's not where I would have put it initially. I would have put it like right here. And so that also works. But either way, we got the major reclaim on this trend down here. So that works pretty good. And so this is where I would look at to start. This is something where if you targeted the all-time highs, you get a whopping 117% profit at 13.3 or 13.9 R if you wanted to do that. If you want to go down to this region, it's 30% at 3.5. So OP looking pretty good as well. I think that's also worth an alert as well. So ALGO. Sometimes I set these alerts to kind of give reference later. So ALGO is the next one. I like ALGO a lot. I feel like it just jumped actually because I just looked at it. Yeah, it did. So ALGO is another one of my favorites because again, it hasn't really pumped too much relative to what the rest of the market has already gone. So according to my signal, it's gone up about 7.6%. But overall, it's still looking good in the scheme of things. I think Algo is probably one of the most underrated coins that has a chance to go back to all-time highs. I'm not saying that it will. I'm a little more I don't want to say doubtful, but I'm a little more hesitant, I should say, to say all-time high for sure. That's why I say the possibility to go up. And so, whereas Solana, I think, is a obvious chance at all time high. I think Algo is a little bit lesser known, but they're a pretty good operation, and they have a similar feel to their team like Chainlink in that. So, this is something that I see. I don't think it's too late to get in. You could probably get in right here. You do have a little bit of a divergence to work with, but that's okay. And you could target something like so, get a pretty solid 41% or 2.5 R, depending on what you want to do. I think, was it right here? Yeah, that's about the same. So that actually covers the retest. So I like that alone a lot. I think I am going to set my alert for that one as well. And then, but last but not least, is Kadena. You may not even know what Kadena is. It is an older coin. It is um, it's okay. It's been sluggish. It's had some down problems. So I'd say out of all these, this could be the one that's the most troublesome. But I do this for two reasons. First of all, we got the apex on this. We've had these before. So and they all these have failed. But I'll get to that in a second. So we do have a divergence in play. If you wanted to long here, sit there, you still have a decent stop at that. And if we go to the next level, you got 53% or 4.5. So that's pretty good. But one reason I brought this up is if I go to the weekly time frame, you have a weekly divergence in play. And so that's something that I want to mention because when you get these kind of divergences, it's the best time to do it. You actually had one right here. And then on from the that to the top was 42, 43%. So you have the possibility to get that same amount. So Cadena looks pretty good to me overall. So with that being said, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry if it was a little bit different of a tempo overall, but that's just what I'm working with so far. Um, like, subscribe, sign up for my scripts if you are interested in them, and I will see you next time. Thank you.